Hello, this is Claude Sports Corner, and in this version of my NFL predictions, I'm in the Nfc North. And as you know, I always start from last to first. And I'm going to start with the last place team that I feel for this division, and that will be the Chicago Bears. Now, to me, it was a toss-up between the Bears and the Detroit Lions, but I chose Chicago for one simple reason: Jay Cutler's still their quarterback. And listen, whether you want to believe it or not, as far as I'm concerned, as long as Jay Cutler is part of this franchise, they will never get to where they need to go. They need to draft a quarterback this upcoming draft. I will always have that vision in my head of that goddamn stationary bike and Jay Cutler on it, while the rest of his team is fighting for a trip to the Super Bowl that particular season. Now, I understand he had a better year last year, but he is a quarterback tease. That's what he is. That's who he is. He's Jeff George for this generation. He'll give you flashes of brilliance. He has the great arm strength. He still has his mobility. And listen, does the offensive line bear a lot of the criticism? Because Jay Cutler does take a lot of punishment, but he quit on his team. You can't have a guy that's the face of your franchise who's a quitter. I'm sorry. Maybe you disagree with me. That's fine. Listen, he is who he is. He'll give you flashes of brilliance. Then he'll throw that pick where you'll look at yourself and like, damn, you gotta be kidding me. You couldn't see that? I mean, he just does stupid things over the course of the season. Now, his receiving core also, the jury is out on them. Alshon Jeffrey, I like Alshon Jeffrey, but he has to manage to stay on the field. He's got to be there for at least 13 weeks. Kevin White, I mean, we're still waiting for a week from him. And I like Kevin White. I like the pick, but he's got to get on the field. He has to produce, especially considering that they lost tight end Marcellus Bennett in a trade to the New England Patriots. And I don't think that the other tight end, Miller, is really, I mean, he's a stopgap guy at best. The running game, Jeremy Langford is going to be, I think, pretty good. Now, is he better than Matt Forte? Well, he's younger than Matt Forte, so I guess in essence he's better just because of his youth. And he is versatile. They are very similar, no question about it. I think, listen, for the Chicago Bears to be successful, Jeremy Langford has to be at least, I'll say, 1,500 yards from scrimmage overall. Then the Bears could go 9-7. But I have them finishing 7-9 and in last place in the NFC North. Now, the third place team will be the Detroit Lions. I trust Matt Stafford slightly more than I trust Jay Cutler. They both are accidents waiting to happen. They're both quarterback teases. But the one thing that I will put in Stafford's favor, I think that he does have a chance to get better. And I think that he will show more versatility now that he's not just relying on Megatron, of course, Calvin Johnson, to bail him out. I do think that he will spread the wealth, similar to what Brett Favre did. Remember when he was so relied on Sterling Sharp, I almost said Shannon Sharp. Listen, they were both great. And he did become a better quarterback once Sterling Sharp was forced to retire with the back injury. Now, of course, we all know that Brett Favre threw his share of picks as well. And some of the most ghastly picks we've ever seen. But Matt Stafford, I think, could have that type of career as well. Now, his running game certainly doesn't help him. Somebody has to step up and be the lead runner for Detroit in order for them to have a very good season. They do have the weapons on the outside. And also Eric Ebron has to be much better than what he's shown. He's been hurt a lot and mediocre at best as well. It's time for him to make that step. So, of course, I have the Detroit Lions finishing at 8-8 and in third place. This is, from top to bottom, a very, very rough division. I like the NFC North, I like them. And you know what? The second place team, I like the Minnesota Vikings. Trust me, I would love for them to win the division, but I just don't see them getting past Green Bay. And the reason being, Teddy Bridgewater has to continue to make the steps necessary to become a top-tier quarterback. Now, to me, he's more Teddy check down. I mean, my God, everything's a check down. He does not wow you with arm strength. And I like him. I like his toughness, but he has to stretch the field. There's no way around it. Now, the receiving core has to improve around him as well. I like their first-round pick, but I don't think he's a guy who's going to stretch the field. They need that burner. Mike Wallace was not that. Mike Wallace is an overrated player. He just is. He hasn't been any good since he left the Steelers. Trust me, I know all about Mike Wallace. And he's going to flop in Baltimore outside of probably the 2 meetings he has against the Steelers. But Mike Wallace is a tease as well. But I digress. We're talking about the current Minnesota Vikings. Stephon Diggs is very good. I like their tight end Rudolph. The jury's out on... listen, if Cordell Patterson can go back to what he was as a rookie, they have something. If not, it looks like Adrian Peterson's going to carry the load once again. And there's nothing wrong with that. I like Adrian Peterson. He is still the best running back in pro football, hands down. Listen, I'm a Pittsburgh fan, of course. I like Le'Veon Bell. He's not in Adrian Peterson's class because he can't stay on the damn field. It's always something stupid with this guy. I understand Peterson had the one time too, but on an average, you know Peterson will be on the field. And let's face it, the smart thing that they're doing right now is not having him play preseason. You don't want this guy beat up. He's 31 years old. Now, they do have decent depth behind him. McKinnon is a nice running back to have, too. And I just like their defense. Their defense is, to me, better than Green Bay's. But the reason I'm choosing the Packers, and by the way, I have Minnesota finishing at 10-6. But I have to go, as you know, my tried and true method, go with the team with the best quarterback. Unless there are insinuating circumstances. And Aaron Rodgers is by far the best quarterback in not only this division, but in pro football. Now, he did not have the best season last year, but as far as your quarterback doing all the things you want him to do, arm strength, leadership, accuracy, toughness, listen, Aaron Rodgers has it all in spades, and there's no question about it. Again, top 5 quarterbacks in my opinion, Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, Big Ben, Drew Brees. You could flip a coin in which method they end up in. You want to put Ben ahead of Brees? I have no problem with that. You can easily make the case that Brees is ahead of Ben. But those are the top 4 quarterbacks in the league right now. You can slide in Cam Newton at number 5. If you want Russell Wilson at 5, I have no problem with that either, especially the way Cam choked away the Super Bowl. I'm really down on Cam Newton, but that's another story. But there are 6 elite quarterbacks. Outside of that, there's a second tier, and that's it. Those are your guys. And Aaron Rodgers is at the very top of that list. He gets his favorite receiver, Jordy Nelson, back. Jared Cook is a hit-or-miss tight end, I understand that. But you could do a 2 tight end system with him and the young Richard Rodgers. Listen, Randall Cobb goes back to the slot. He was very underwhelming as a top-flight receiver. Well, that was the role that he had. He did not materialize in it. Eddie Lacy, I think, will have a bounce-back season. He's showing that. He better have it. And I choose the Green Bay Packers to win that division at 11-5. And there you have it, the NFC North predicted. This is Claude Sports Corner. Please like and subscribe. Take care, and God bless.